Good evening, everybody. Glad to have you with us once again as we present this week's edition of the Milford Informer. I am your host, Tim Coet. We hope everyone was able to get out and enjoy the long weekend last weekend. Since this was a short work week, we do have an abbreviated version of the Informer for you this week. We have one top story to bring you regarding an exciting fundraising event coming up here in Milford, and we also have a lot of sports highlights to get to as well. Let's show you everything that's on the table tonight in our top stories rundown. Tonight, get all of the details on an exciting night of fun, fashion, wine, and prizes that will benefit the efforts of the nonprofit group Project Smiles. And later in sports, we will have complete highlights of Milford's Week 5 football battle on the road against Sharon High School. And we'll also take a look at 2 home games from the past week for Milford field hockey and girls soccer. Over the last 14 years, the group Project Smile has been on a mission to help bring comfort to children dealing with traumatic situations. 1 week from tonight, Project Smile will be holding an exciting fundraising event here in Milford that will provide quality entertainment, all while benefiting their very worthy cause. To find out all of the details on this event, I sat down with the founder of Project Smile, Catherine Pizzacane. And we are very happy to be joined on the Milford Informer this week by Catherine Pizzacane. She's from Project Smile, a great local nonprofit organization here in the area based out of Hopedale, correct?
Correct.
So first of all, Catherine, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Project Smile, it's been just a great organization in the area now for going into your second decade now, 14 years in total. It's amazing the success that you've had over the years. But for people who are tuned in who haven't heard of Project Smile before, talk a little bit about sort of your vision and how you first got this group started.
Yeah, sure. So we're a nonprofit and we help children who are victims of traumatic events. And we partner with police and fire departments, Department of Children and Families, and homeless shelters. And we donate stuffed animals and books and coloring books and crayons for children. And so the goal is that anytime an emergency responder has an interaction with a child who's been through a traumatic situation, they have a little stuffed animal to give them so the child can hold on to it and bring some comfort to them and take some of that fear and anxiety out of the situation, because it's a really scary time for children. And it's also for kids that are going into foster care. There's over 7,000 children just in Massachusetts every year that go into foster care. So our goal is to donate stuffed animals. When the kids are taken out of the home, a lot of them have nothing with them.
Sure.
Yeah, and so it's another scary time for children. And so our goal is to give them a little stuffed animal, have a book, coloring book, crayons, and something to kind of help them through that really hard time.
It's amazing. It's such a small gesture, but you can imagine just in that moment with things being so scary and so traumatic, to just have that little opportunity to make a child feel a little bit better. I mean, it seems small, but I'm sure it has a huge impact on the child.
It definitely does. Yeah, it's amazing. We get feedback from from the emergency responders and how the difference it matters, like when they give out the items. And we've heard actually from a couple of families whose children received stuffed animals, and they let us know that it made such an impact. And yeah, it's really important.
That's great. And so you started this in 2003, and this was your vision from the beginning. And now being here 14 years into this program, how have you seen things grow? How have you seen the success of this program and what you've been doing?
Yeah, it's grown so much. When we first started, I was actually working in a school department. I was running an after-school program for children, and I was looking for something for the kids to do coming up to the holiday time. And so I was in the supermarket, and I was actually covered the New York Post, and they had a photo of these 4 boys that had been 4 brothers, and they'd been starved by their adoptive parents. And it was horrific. It was so bad. It was like shocking as you're walking by and you look, and my God, what is that? So I bought the paper, I took it to work, and I read the article. One of the boys was 14 years old, and he weighed 40 pounds, which, I mean, that's horrific. Yeah, and the article was saying that when the police came to take the children out of the home, one of the officers had a little stuffed animal, and he kept it in his cruiser to give to a child, and he gave it to the little boy, and the little kid wouldn't let it go. He was clinging to it, and it really comforted him. And so I read the article, and I thought, it'd be great to have a program up here for police to have stuffed animals to give to children. And not necessarily the most extreme situations, but all the daily things that happen with car accidents, domestic violence situations, abuse situations, all the stuff that goes on every single day. And that was where it started. We did a stuffed animal drive, and then it just took off from there. And that was 2003, and then we expanded eventually a few years later to work with fire departments, and then we added on stuffed coloring books and crayons. And then we donate other items as well, like as needed basis. Then we expand in 2008 to work with DCF and then shelters a couple years later.
It's tremendous, and also recently you've launched an elder care program as well. So sort of along those same lines, but giving comfort to seniors entering assisted living or nursing home situations. So
Right.
a great opportunity to continue to build on the work that you've already been doing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're trying to reach out to as many people as possible that are in need. We're actually very happy to celebrate working with our 200th department.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing. It was we did a bunch of donations to some towns in Western Massachusetts. It was our 200th donation, so not 200th donation, our 200 department to donate to.
Oh,
So that was exciting.
That's great. Congratulations on the success, and again, a lot of hard work for you over these last 14 years. And aside from all the work that you've been doing directly for Project Smile, you've been also working with a group called Smiling Stiletto Shoe Club, and this will be relevant to sort of the main topic at hand that we want to get to in a moment. But talk a little bit about Smiling Stiletto Shoe Club and how you've sort of used that to also continue to benefit Project Smile.
Great. So Smiling Stiletto Shoe Club is a social organization, and it's for people, mostly women, that love shoes and fashion, and we would get together on a relatively monthly basis and have cocktail parties, events in the greater Boston area. And the goal was for people to girls to put on their cute shoes that they have in their closet, but they don't really have anywhere to wear them to, and go out, hang out with some other people that love shoes and fashion, and mingle. We would do a pink carpet competition where girls would be able to walk the pink carpet and have win prizes for the best shoes of the night. I was actually a member of the group for quite a few years, and the lady that started it, she moved away, and I took over running the shoe club. And then it's been great because we've been able to help support Project Smile events and through the shoe club as well.
Well, that's really fun. And so if you are one of those people who have a knack for fashion, then certainly the fundraising event that you have coming up is certainly going to be up a lot of people's alley. It's called the Strut and Sip, a night of wine and fashion. Talk a little bit about this event.
Oh my God, I am so excited for this event. So I love fashion shows. We just did one actually at the Hilton in Woburn during Boston Fashion Week a couple of days ago. And so we're super psyched for this event because it's one of these events that if I read about it, I'd be like, oh, I want to go to this. So we're doing a fashion show, and we have a bunch of different clothing vendors. We have a bridal boutique, Clever Bride boutique in Holliston. We have LuLaRoe, Zena Bauman. We have Ruby Ribbon with Cheryl Reed. And then we have W by Worth, which makes really awesome professional clothing for women. And so they're all, and the coolest thing is that we have women from the community that are modeling. So it's not necessarily the typical model look. So but it's the idea was that every woman has their inner model. And so we're bringing women from the community that live or work in the area, and they're getting dressed up, getting their hair and makeup done, putting on these cute outfits, and we're having a fashion show. It's at the Crystal Room, Friday, October 20th in Milford. And then we're also doing a wine tasting. It's Julio's Liquors from Westboro. They're bringing wine, and everybody gets to sample some great wine. And we do an amazing live and silent auction too.
Well, that's terrific. And so, again, there's a little something for everybody at this event. Obviously, the women out there or the men who enjoy a good fashion show, there's certainly going to be some great entertainment there, but terrific wine, refreshments there, and then also we have to get to the silent and live auction. And again, anyone who is at all familiar with Milford events knows Dick Ferrucci. You have Dick Ferrucci as your MC auctioneer for this event, so that's going to be fantastic, and some really great prizes there as well.
Yeah, we have. So I love Dick. I mean, he is just the most amazing person. How he does these auctions, it's so phenomenal. So he's working his magic with the live auction, and we have Caitlin Flint from NBC 10 Boston is hosting the fashion show portion
terrific.
of the evening. Yeah. Oh my God. So we have something for everybody here. We have amazing autographed Red Sox, Patriots, Bruins, Celtics items. We have JetBlue tickets, 2 round-trip tickets, go anywhere the JetBlue flies. We have Disney World passes. We have a really cool thing. It's Good Morning America, and it's a behind-the-scenes VIP experience. So you would go to the live broadcast of the show, and you get to watch it from basically on the set, and then you get to meet the anchors. You get a little tour. It's a pretty cool thing that you wouldn't really be able to do otherwise at all. Yeah, so we have movie tickets, golf, lots of restaurant gift cards. So you can basically do all your Christmas shopping and help out Project Smile at the same time.
That's really terrific. There's some absolutely excellent prizes there. You really don't want to miss it. So again, the Strut and Sip, a night of wine and fashion. It's coming up on Friday, October 20th, right at the Crystal Room on Cedar Street, so very close by, right here in Milford. So certainly an event worth checking out. And for people looking to purchase tickets for the event, pretty convenient to go right onto your website, projectsmile.org, and they can find out all the information they need there.
Yep, it's right there. Tickets only $25, very affordable, and they can get them in advance. We only have limited space, so please get your tickets ahead of time.
Okay, so again, it's coming up on October 20th. That's a Friday night, so make sure if you're watching this, you've got about a week to get those tickets. They're flying off the shelf, so make sure you get those tickets as soon as possible. It's going to be a terrific event. And so again, all that information is on projectsmile.org. There's a lot of great information there on the website. It's a very comprehensive website. You can learn a lot about the organization, but most importantly, you have a real convenient donation tab right there on the website. And so folks who want to get involved and help donate some items to, again, you can't forget about just the important work and how much this means to children in need, that these first responders, police, firefighters, paramedics can have these things on hand to just help brighten a child's day in a really difficult situation. So anyone who wants to get involved and donate there, it's a pretty easy process on the website, correct?
Yeah, definitely. And we're always looking for help, whether it's volunteers wanting to get involved, if people wanting to hold collections for us, starting a local chapter, getting involved with events. I mean, there's so many ways to be involved, so we're always happy to have help.
Well, that's great. So again, I encourage you to visit projectsmile.org, get all the information you need on there, help with donations, and also, again, make sure you grab your tickets now for the Strut and Sip, a night of wine and fashion. It's going to be a great time. I'm sure you're looking forward to it, and a lot of community members looking forward to it too. Catherine, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
The football team is back at home tonight for the first of back-to-back games under the lights here in Milford. The boys enter tonight's Week 6 matchup with Foxborough with momentum on their side, coming off of last week's Saturday afternoon tilt in Sharon. If you weren't able to travel out to last weekend's game, let us get you up to speed with full highlights, courtesy of our friends over at Sharon Community Television. Milford traveled to Sharon High School last Saturday for their final road game before the MIAA playoff seedings are determined. The Hawks hoped to pull off their second road victory against an Eagles team that had been outscored 75-8 in their previous two games. The Hawks would open the game on offense, but instead of junior Ryan Pearl and the War Package marching onto the field, Coach Vazakis would dispatch Colby Pyers and the spread offense. Early on, the Hawks would face a 3rd and long from deep inside their own end, but Pyers would find Lucas Rosa right at the first down marker to keep the drive going. Later in the drive, facing another 3rd down, Pyers tosses one up deep down the field with Caden Kelly racing outside the numbers, and Kelly is able to leap, secure the catch, and land in bounds. A tremendous 24-yard reception for the senior Caden Kelly to place Milford inside Eagles territory. A few plays later, Pyers would convert on 3rd down yet again, this time finding recent transfer student Joey Everett on this 11-yard pass over the middle. After back-to-back rushing plays from Ryan O'Toole placed Milford at the Sharon 10, Pyers would feed the ball to Chappelle Feaster on the jet sweep, and Feaster would weave his way into the end zone. Milford takes up nearly 8 minutes of the first quarter clock and travels 94 yards as they take an early 7-0 lead. Sharon would finally get their hands on the football with 3:08 to go in the quarter. Return man Chris Gong would find some space along the far sideline, but eventually Milford would close in and force a fumble. The Hawks would end up with the turnover, allowing their offense to march right back out onto the field. Sharon would force Milford into a 4th and 3 situation with just over a minute to play in the first, but Pyers would complete a pass to Lucas Rosa, who would take the ball down to the Sharon 16. After that, we would see a shift in the Milford offense as Ryan Pearl and the War Package would take over. The change in offense would not change the Hawks' ability to move the football. Here, Brendan White plows forward inside the 5 to set up 1st and goal. That play would bring an end to a first quarter in which the Milford offense was the only offense to see the field. On the very first play of quarter number 2, the Hawks would tack onto their lead, courtesy of a 3-yard touchdown run for Will Pointer that gave Milford a 2-score lead. Later in the second quarter, Sharon would have an opportunity to turn their fortunes around. They would recover a fumble deep inside Milford territory, and then junior running back Aaron Strong would bring the ball all the way down to the 1-yard line, setting up 1st and goal. Sharon would then take their chances on 4 running plays, needing just 1 yard to get on the scoreboard, but the Milford defense would produce the ultimate goal line stand, refusing to let Sharon in for the score, eventually leading to a turnover on downs. Fast forward to the final play of the first half. With the ball spotted on the Sharon 42, Colby Pyers takes his shot at a Hail Mary pass into the end zone. Joey Everett would then time his leap perfectly, going between 2 defenders to make the catch, but the officials would rule that Everett came down out of bounds. As we take another look, it appears that Everett may have gotten the left foot down inside the end zone, but the ruling on the field would be an incomplete pass, sending the game into halftime with Milford up 14-0. After Milford's defense quickly forced a Sharon punt to open the third quarter, the offense would start off with this reverse play that initially looked to be a big gain for the Hawks, but a holding call would wipe the play off the books. Facing 2nd down and 27, Pyers would have time in the pocket, and once again the play would go to Feaster as he makes the catch over the middle, picking up the 1st down and then some. Later in the drive on 1st and long, look at the athleticism of Colby Pyers. He extends the play, dodging a number of tackles, and would eventually send the throw on target to Everett, who just barely gets it over the goal line for a 25-yard touchdown. Just 2 plays into the ensuing Sharon drive, Milford would get quick penetration into the backfield, forcing Ruskin to rush his throw, and the result would be an easy pick for Hugo Lopez, who would take it to the house for a pick 6, and the rout was officially on in Sharon as the Scarlet Hawks would open up a 28-0 lead in the third quarter. The Hawks would continue to overwhelm the Eagles as the third quarter went on. Hugo Lopez would produce a 2nd interception for the defense, and that would soon be followed up by a Will Pointer rushing touchdown out of the war package to put the Hawks on top 35-0. Neither team would put any points on the scoreboard in the fourth quarter, and in the end Milford would pitch a shutout on the road as they went on to defeat the Sharon Eagles by a final score of 35-0. A great effort on both sides of the ball as the Hawks earned their 2nd victory of the season. The Scarlet Hawks are seeking out their first home win of the year as we speak. If you're tuned into our premiere airtime on Friday night, you can stream the game live right now by checking out our educational feed on milfordtv.net or on the Livestream app on your mobile device. Meanwhile, our cameras were also rolling at both field hockey and girls soccer earlier this week. Let's check out highlights from both games in this look back on the week in Milford High sports. The Milford field hockey team entered into this week's action past the halfway point in their regular season schedule. Through their first 9 games, the Lady Hawks accumulated a 2-7 record. Their victories on the season included a nail-biting 4-3 win against Stoughton and a 9-0 blowout versus Sharon. This past Tuesday, the girls looked for win number 3 on the year against an opponent in a similar spot in the standings in the Attleboro Lady Bombardiers. Early on, Attleboro would see the bulk of the action on their offensive side of the field. Here they create plenty of traffic in front of the net, but they'd be unable to get it past the goalie. Attleboro's continued aggressiveness would eventually pay off a few minutes later. Off the corner chance, Attleboro would blast a shot in toward net. The initial save would be made, but the ball would squirt loose behind the goalie, and Abby Boudreau was there to knock it home to give the visitors the lead. Inside of 8 minutes to go in the half, after seeing little time on their offensive end, Milford sophomore Bella Gonzalez would deny Attleboro the clear upfield. Gonzalez would quickly send a pass away to Shannon Cormier, and the senior captain would blast a one-timer past the Attleboro goalie, and just like that, the Lady Hawks would tie the game at 1. Down to 3.5 minutes to go in the first half, Attleboro would have another corner play. The Bombardiers would send the ball in toward the goal mouth, and with several players trying to jam it home, eventually it was Abby Boudreau who would notch her 2nd goal of the game to put Attleboro back on top. But once again, Milford would counter. This time it's the senior captain Danielle Focus who denies the Attleboro clear. She then dishes on to Cormier, who displays some outstanding stick work, weaving around multiple defenders to eventually bury the shot. 2 goals in the game for the senior captain Shannon Cormier as she once again ties the game. Early on in the second half, Attleboro would get a goal from Grace Meyer to give the Bombardiers a 3-2 lead, and the score would remain the same down to the final seconds. Milford would have one last chance off the corner. Again, it's Shannon Cormier who gets the ball on her stick. She sends it on towards net where the ball gets deflected up in the air and then bounces off the crossbar, but eventually it hops just over the net as time expires. It was a well-played, evenly matched game, but the Lady Bombardiers were able to walk away with the 3-2 win. A day later, it was the Lady Hawks soccer team out on the turf field, taking on one of the top teams over in the Kelly Rex division in the Mansfield Lady Hornets. Mansfield would bring plenty of firepower to this matchup, with 3 players ranking among the top scorers in the Hockomock League. The Hornets offense would be taking aim at freshman goalkeeper Carly Ferreira, making her varsity debut with the starting keeper Olivia Marshall out with injury. It would not take long for Ferreira to face her first big test. Poking that ball loose, but Mansfield sends it back down on the attack, dumping it down into the corner. Racing there is Stephanie Kemp right on cue. A quick centering pass, the shot on goal, and one-handed. Ferreira able to make the save, blocking that top corner. And that draws the applause of this Milford crowd. Almost 20 minutes into the first half action, Amanda Mangano from Mansfield is able to spring loose from one defender, getting good position on net. Rachel LeBlanc then comes in hard to try and break up the shot attempt, but she ends up colliding with Mangano. Both players would avoid injury on the play, but the result would be a penalty shot for Mansfield to be taken by junior Emily Vijant. Vijant would get her shot just past the dive of Ferreira to give Mansfield the first lead, up 1-0. That would prove to be the only scoring chance for either side in the first half. As the teams got into the second half, however, both offenses would look to get more aggressive. Some hard physical play over the middle initiated by Annie Flanagan, but clean. No whistle. Now this one up ahead for Leanne Kibbe, trying to get a shot away. She does, and she scores! One-on-one up the field, Kibbe was eventually able to clear herself for the shot and quickly gets it past Katie Damasi, and Milford ties this game up 1 apiece. A little over 4 minutes later, Mansfield would have an opportunity to respond. Free kick coming up for the Lady Hornets to be taken by Emily Vijant, the goal scorer on the visitors' side. A line drive kick and up over the reach of Ferreira, so there is Vijant again, and she is able to give Mansfield the lead back. That second goal of the game for Emily Vijant delivered a wake-up call to the rest of the Lady Hornets offense. Just 60 seconds later, the Hornets would send a header forward that would take an absolutely perfect bounce for Cassidy McMahon, setting her up in position to knock it past Ferreira to double the Mansfield lead. But the Hornets' offensive outburst was not quite over yet. Keep your eye on the far corner of the field, where Stephanie Kemp does not hesitate as she snipes it from long range. Mansfield scores 3 goals in the span of 2 minutes and 55 seconds to take a commanding 4-1 lead. Mansfield's defense would not give the Hawks many scoring opportunities over the course of the second half, but inside of 10 minutes to play, Madeline Boyle would have an opportunity to give Milford some life on the free kick. Kick comes up for Madeline Boyle, and shoots it up and just over the reach of the keeper, Damasi. And Madeline Boyle off the free kick is able to net Milford's second goal of the game. She cuts it back down to a 2-goal deficit as the score goes to 4-2 with 6.5 minutes to play. Perfectly placed just beyond the fingertips of Damasi. The Lady Hawks would continue to battle right until the end. Watch this sequence as Sienna Pierce races after the ball, just barely keeping it in play. She passes on to Olivia Sullivan, who gives a good centering pass for Maggie Boyle, and she immediately fires it on net, but Mansfield keeper Katie Damasi makes the save. That would prove to be the final play of the match. Milford drops a tough one to the Mansfield Lady Hornets by a final of 4-2, dropping Milford to 3-7-2 overall on the season. Coming up on October 14th, the Milford High School Hospitality and Tourism Management Program will be presenting their 3rd annual Stacy Middle School Color Run. Bring the whole family for a morning of fun that will help benefit your local middle school. All proceeds from the run will help with gymnasium technology, as well as the sports programs over at Stacy Middle School. The color run is taking place on Saturday, October 14th at Stacy Middle School. Registration begins at 8 a.m. and the color run begins at 9:30. There will also be a fun run for kids 9 and under beginning at 9 a.m. For more information or to find out how to register, just send an email to htm@milfordma.com. Also on October 14th, Alternatives, along with the Rotary Club of Milford, will be presenting the 5th annual Milford Fall Family Fun Day. This exciting seasonal event will include live music, refreshments, games, crafts, a Halloween costume contest, and much more. The whole day is free fun for the whole family. The Fall Family Fun Day is taking place on October 14th over at Milford Town Park from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. For more information on the event, log on to alternativesnet.org/familyfunday. And coming up on October 15th, join our good friends over at the Bay Path Humane Society as they host their 8th annual Paws and Claws 5K Run Walk. Enjoy a scenic run or stroll through beautiful Hopkinton State Park during peak foliage season, and make sure you bring your favorite four-legged friend with you. Proceeds from the 5K will help benefit animals housed at the Humane Society. The Paws and Claws 5K is taking place on Sunday, October 15th, over in Hopkinton. For more information, head over to the website baypathhumane.org. That is all we have for you this week. Remember, if you have any events coming up in the Milford area that you'd like to see us cover, or you have an idea for a top story news piece, we encourage you to get in touch with us here at the studio. You can contact us using any of the methods on your screen right now. We thank you once again for joining us. From all of us here at Milford TV, this is Tim Coet saying have a great week. So long, everybody.